Okay, so this is going to be a quick demonstration on porting and its effects on the excursion of a driver, and also a quick way to verify whether your port is appropriately tuned or not. Got here's my laptop with a signal generator installed, and I've got it fed into a amplifier. It's on our test bench here, but it could be in your car as well. Output of the amplifier is then connected to our ported enclosure. This particular enclosure is ported on the back side. Normally we try to port on the front of the enclosure, but with our scrap wood we used here, there wasn't enough room on the face of the enclosure to do that. I'm going to start out with a fairly high tuning. We're going to begin at about a 70 hertz here, and go ahead and click play. And we'll go back to the excursion of the driver. Right now you can see at a high frequency, if you look at the dust cap, very little excursion. As I begin lowering the frequency, basically I'm just scrolling down my signal generator, you'll start to see a little bit of blurring of that dust cap. Lower frequencies require more excursion. And at this point, the JBL is quite blurry, getting a lot of motion there. Continue a little lower, and as I go lower and lower on my frequency, the excursion gets more and more. And as I approach my tuning frequency, that excursion begins to settle down. And in this case, right about there, you can notice that the cone's barely moving. If I continue lower, we're going to get outside of the tune range of the port, and once again excursion is going to increase, and as I get too low, dramatically larger excursion to the point when the woofer is totally out of control. At this point we would say that this enclosure is unloading. You might be able to hear that the bass output has dropped off dramatically. Once again, scroll back up, get back in the range of the port, excursion gets controlled, and at my tune frequency, once again the woofer is almost stopped. I can pretty much almost touch that cone. If we go around and check out the port at this point, the port would be very energetic, and if I were to hold a paper in front of it, see how that really is moving some air there. At this point, most of the output of the driver is at the ported frequency. But yet the cone, once again, with very little excursion, hardly moving at all. Now what I've made here is a little port plug. If I install this plug in my port, it's a little piece of wood here. I'm going to plug up that port. Notice the output dropped off dramatically. Haven't changed anything, but we go back up to the woofer again, and once again, the woofer has a lot of excursion. Sealed enclosures, more excursion the deeper they go. Ported enclosures, when we get near our tune frequency, they have much more control over the driver. Just going to pull that port out. And again, the bass is fully increased, and the enclosure now has control again. Tune frequency at this point, if I look, the signal generator, I'm putting in approximately 36 hertz, which would be the tuning of this port in this enclosure.